Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
I want to bring back Julie Smolyansky. She's CEO of Lifeway Foods. She's been on with us in the past. We last spoke to her back in December. The company, Lifeway Foods, you might know it if you're a listener, if you're a viewer, or if you've been to a grocery store, because it's a $350 million market cap. They make kefir and farm cheese, so you might have seen their products on the shelves. They reported earnings earlier this week. Tuesday, they came out with the numbers. The market reaction was on Wednesday. Shares surged to higher by more than 14.5%. The company reported a 44% year-over-year increase in earnings per share. Net sales up 3.3% year-over-year. And it was the 22nd quarter of consecutive growth under Julie's leadership. Julie joins us once again from Los Angeles. Julie, there's a lot to talk about. I mentioned that you were on with us back in December to discuss the company rejecting an unsolicited offer, a takeover offer by Danone North America. What is the status of the back and forth now between the two companies?
We are in court. And we are working to defend this hostile takeover. It's a classic David and Goliath story, but their offer farly undervalues the company, and we're fighting for all shareholders. And we know that we're at the tipping point right now. We have a strong balance sheet, and we're not a distressed company. So, we feel that the offer is really undervalues us. And we feel that the reason why they think that they can take us over in a hostile manner, the very contract that we're disputing, is invalid. It's against Illinois state law. All shareholders did not agree to it. And it gives a minority shareholder control over management and board decisions. So we believe that the Cook County courts will side with us. And this situation's really unprecedented. And, we're fighting against the largest B Corp in the world who's behaving like an activist. It's unprecedented, and it's not something we typically see in the natural food industry at a time when, other companies are being valued at exceptional rates. We just saw Poppi being acquired by Pepsi for $2 billion. We're in the probiotic space. We have a lot of science behind our product. And 2,000 years of history. This is not a fad. This is not a trend. This is a 2,000-year-old staple product that my ancestors, my great-great-grandparents, grandmothers, developed and protected. And, my father brought kefir to America, and he pioneered this, and we pioneered this. Lifeway is the premier kefir company in the world. And so it's no surprise to me that they want to steal us. But, I'm going to make sure that all shareholders benefit from a good value of our company, one that we know. And, we're on target to continued strong performance.
Well, I do want to say you sent a message out on social media earlier saying that you would be on our program a little later. You said you were going to defend Lifeway kefir against corporate raiders and bullies, and you called it shameful when the largest B corporation in the world behaves like greedy hedge funds. Danone did send us a response to that, a lengthy response. I'm going to read from it and get your reply. It says, in part, Julie Smolyansky's allegations against Danone are false and detached from reality. There's no raid or hostile bid since Lifeway's board decided in November 2024 to reject Danone's highly attractive $27 per share acquisition proposals, depriving Lifeway shareholders of a very significant premium. Danone has been a major shareholder in Lifeway for more than 25 years and is defending a legally binding shareholder agreement. The statement continues to say, the only greed demonstrated here is by Ms. Smolyansky at the expense of Lifeway's public shareholders. How do you respond to that?
I think the language speaks for themselves, for itself. This shareholder agreement is illegal. Many lawyers have looked at it, as well as Illinois legislators have looked at it. and have all agreed it's illegal, improper, and it harms Lifeway. It harms the public at large. It benefits nobody but Danone, and we believe it's void. And the courts will work through that in the courts. But they themselves are on the record as saying that they're going to make a move, that they're making a move on kefir in the United States. They have already christened their hostile takeover by example of their photograph on the front page of their annual report with Activia Kefir. They already have shared their plans, and that those plans are to wipe us off the face of the earth and get rid of our brand and take over the space. They're unable to grow organically on their own. So they do this this is a standard operating procedure for them. And you can see that by the debacle of their Horizon takeover, their White Wave takeover, their Wallaby takeover. They have a history of corporate raiding. And I don't think farmers in America or our community here in America or around the world, is going to benefit from such actions. And we will continue to defend them. And I'm not going to be bullied.
We're speaking with Julie Smolyansky, CEO of Lifeway Foods. She's also chairperson of the board and president of the company.
Julie, I'm wondering if there is a price that is fair for potentially a merger. Would you be open to that if the price was right? And what would it be?
We're open to any offer that makes sense for all shareholders, that values the company in a proper way, in a way that also looks at the potential and the growth when there is a tipping point right now in food, and they know it, which is why they're trying to take this over and steal this, because they know it. We own 95% of the most hottest global categories in the world. Kefir is the subject of intense science and research studies all around the world. Just recently, a couple of months ago out of Boston, they did a long study of over 30 years that followed 130,000 people and found that people who consumed probiotic fermented dairy foods, like found in Lifeway Kefir, were able to reduce colon cancer by 20 to 30%. This is groundbreaking research. We also know that kefir can help prevent ADHD. We've seen research showing that. We have seen the mind-gut access and the way that kefir can help reduce stress, depression, and anxiety through the vagus nerve. There is a skin-gut access. We know that kefir is beneficial to the skin. This is all science and research backed. So, and the GLP-1 conversation, just to throw that one in, we have a high-quality bioavailable protein product loaded with calcium and nutrients that people want.
We only have a couple minutes left.
There's a lot of potential.
We only have a couple minutes left, so I want to jump in here. Emily did ask you what the price would be. Remember, Danone offered $27 per share in their acquisition proposal. They called it highly attractive. What number is fair to you?
I'm not going to name a number. The board and the consultants, the investment bankers and the board will have that determination. But I can tell you, you could look at some of the recent transactions and the valuations there, and I'll name Poppy, Simple Mills, of which Lifeway was an early investor in, and we benefited greatly from. But take a look at the Simple Mills valuations. Take a look at Lesser Evil. Take a look at RX Bar, Annie's Organics. I mean, I can continue to name other companies in my space and the valuations that are there. That is, absolutely disagree that they are offering an attractive offer. They're offering an offer that only benefits Danone. And the contract is illegal. Let's run a fair process.
I do want to touch a little bit on some of the other points that Danone made in their argument. This idea that compensation, they note, accounts for more than potential compensation, rather, would account for more than all of Lifeway's net income. How would you respond to that? They say together with the severance and retention figures.
I mean, I feel that that's the pot calling the kettle black. I would say take a look at their compensation. I mean, I think that, there's I think everyone deserves to be compensated fairly, and my team is no different than their team.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I think we covered this latest, and I know this will be ongoing. Very briefly, before we switch gears, when do you anticipate this to be out of the courts and there to be a decision?
Oh, I can't predict what the court's timeline is. That's up to the courts.
You think it'll be years, though?
I don't have a crystal ball.
No idea. Okay.
But I know that we're going to continue to, control what we can control, which is continue to build the business. That's what I'm focused on.
Okay. Well,
really growing the category.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Because last time you were on, you spoke a lot about farmer cheese and the growing category there. What's the product pipeline look like when you want to branch out from kefir?
Yeah, this is really exciting because farmer's cheese is one of the hottest things happening right now. It is a kind of a product of the moment. As you know, cottage cheese really became viral recently. We saw this trend and demand for soft, unripened cheeses like cottage cheese. This is sort of like a blended cottage cheese already, so it's a recipe hack. And because of like the high demand, I mean, you have to be under a rock to see the demand for high quality bioavailable protein is off the charts. And this offers a tremendous amount of protein. People, even Bethany Frankel is raving about it and sharing it on her Instagram. She paired it with caviar on a crisp. Looks great. But, there is sort of a buzz around farmer's cheese, so much so that we've already started shipping into 1,400 Albertson stores around the country. And we have commitments for another 2,000 distribution points for farmer's cheese in mass market. This is the first time we're scaling a legacy product. This was product number 1 and 2, along with original kefir that we launched. So this is a product where we're the number 1 manufacturers in farmer's cheese. So not only are we the category leader of kefir, but we're also the category leader of farmer's cheese. We're going to see a lot more about this in the coming weeks and months out of Lifeway and on your grocery store shelf.
Are Americans coming back to dairy? Because oat milk, almond milk, all of those trends were very popular, but obviously, this is a dairy product.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a fermented dairy, which is not the same as just regular milk. Fermented dairy offers a tremendous amount of extra benefits. There are peptides that are released when through the fermentation process. Those peptides create a healthy microbiome in your gut. They restore kefir helps restore all of the good bacteria. And consumers are starting to learn about the microbiome and the importance of fermented dairy. And, they are going to the shelf, and they're recognizing that there are a lot of options on the shelf. But, this is not just a fad or a trend. Kefir, again, it's been around for 2,000 years. It's been a product of intense study for over 100 years, but it's really just now hitting mass market, and people are starting to make the connection and the tipping point that, food is medicine or it's poison. You can use food to heal your body, and that's what Lifeway Kefir does. It heals the body, and that's something that's really special, and it's authentic. This is a recipe that was brought by my family to this country. And so it's the original, it's the OG of kefir, of probiotics. We were the first to talk about probiotics. Most of the disease in our body, most of our budget in our healthcare is from diseases of lifestyle. Kefir can actually help prevent some of those diseases of lifestyle. This is an important piece of health that all of us should be integrating from cradle to senior. Lifeway Kefir is for everyone. And, it reduces inflammation in the body, which is the cause of almost all disease, is because of inflammation and dysbiosis in the gut. And we're learning that, and people are starting to understand, and it's available everywhere from Walmart to Target to Amazon to Whole Foods. We're in club stores, we're in mass market grocery to ultra premium. And so there is something for everyone, and our goal is to democratize it, to make it accessible and available to everyone, not just in America, but we ship all over, and make sure that as many people have access to Lifeway Kefir.
I'm curious, the shares are down about 8.7% so far this year. They're still shy by $5 of the acquisition price that Danone offered back in November of 2024 of $27 per share. What do you think investors are missing with this story?
Well, I would take a look at the five-year history and the trajectory. We have brought the company from $1.50 to, whatever it is today, $25. That's 1,200% growth. Our EBITDA has gone from $3 million to $27, and we are on target to continue to $45 plus in 2027. We've grown our gross profit 100%. We've grown our gross margin by 300 basis points, more than 300 basis points. I mean, we are just starting to hit our stride, and we have invested in our equipment and capacity. We have great capacity. We have, the ability to, we have a strong balance sheet. We have no debt. We have cash in the bank. We have a great team. We have incredible demand for our product that we manufacture ourselves. We have access to capital. The list goes on. The list goes on.
We only have a minute left, and I know Emily has another question. I just do want to point out, I'm looking at the 5-year chart. It's up 872% in the last 5 years. Shares 5 years ago were trading at $2.27. That was on June 11th, 2020. That was the 5-year low. Up now to $22.64 where shares are now.
Quick question, Julie.
We're a brand that meets the moment, and I was going to say we're a brand that meets the moment and a brand on the move, as you could see.
Speaking of on the move, everyone's talking about inflation. Do you feel like Lifeway Foods is feeling the pressure that you'll have to raise prices just to keep up with competition and keep up with inflation?
I mean, that's something that we've navigated and managed for over, 39 years. We're about to hit our 40th anniversary. So we've seen these kinds of things in the market, and it's something that we're used to. We still have a lot of price elasticity. Again, we are 95% of the kefir category. And, if we need to raise prices, we certainly will. We know that when consumers are feeling the pinch in the rest of, other categories and things, household good items and other things that are essential, they do tend to go back to the grocery store and go back to the essentials like Lifeway, brands they know, brands they trust, and especially brands that have a functional element that are offering them some benefits like Lifeway Kefir does. So, we are battle tested. We've been through so many various elements, but, we managed a global pandemic, a global supply chain shortage, and a global labor shortage, and it really worked to our advantage. And I have no doubt that the same will be true as we look to the future.
Julie, appreciate you taking the time and joining us once again. Please do come back. Don't be a stranger. Keep us up to date on everything happening at the company. Julie Smolyansky, CEO of Lifeway Foods. She is also chairman of the board as well as president at the company. She joins us from Los Angeles. A reminder, $350 million market cap maker of kefir, farmer cheese, and more.